drivers.
We are bringing you live team coverage of what you need to know for this winter storm tonight.
We've got crews stationed in Austin, Sandy Creek, Georgetown, and Marble Falls tonight. But first, let's turn to Chief Meteorologist Chicago Windler with what's still to come. Chicago, what should we expect overnight?
Now your Storm Tracker weather, sponsored by the Sistine Chapel Experience.
Plan on seeing ice, which is already underway at a lower extent. We've now had 0.01 inches of ice accumulate at Camp Mabry, 0.02 at Austin Bergstrom. But when all is said and done, the areas that are in the ice storm, including the Hill Country and the I-35 corridor, could potentially see as much as a ½ inch of ice accumulation. That is enough to compromise power lines, bring down trees as well. This was an upgrade from the winter storm warning that had earlier been in effect. So if you're through the I-35 corridor points west, be prepared for potential power outages because of additional icing coming in through the overnight. Meanwhile, it's a winter storm warning east of I-35 as well as for Mason County. Could still see between 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation, which is likely to create issues on the roads. Here's an animation of what we're looking at as the storm pushes through during the overnight hours. The majority of it will fall in the form of freezing rain because temperatures across the board are already well below freezing. In fact, at 11 a.m., we dropped to freezing in Austin, and we are now down to 26 degrees. Look at Harper, down to 18. Llano is 19, and even out toward LaGrange, you're sitting at 31 to 32 degrees. We also do have some light freezing rain that is already canvassing from the airport points to the east. This isn't even the main batch. We're still waiting for that, and you can definitely see the moisture pooling across Mexico and Del Rio. This has yet to come into our area, which will happen overnight. Ahead in your CBS Austin 7-day, I'm going to walk you through hour by hour and show you the latest potential ice accumulations.
Thanks, Chicago. Let's take a look at the power outages in Fredericksburg and the Hill Country right now. Currently, there's more than 1,500 people without lights or heat tonight. Central Texas crews, including Austin Energy and Encore, have extra workers on hand now to get any outages restored as quickly as possible tonight. And conditions are already slick as the sun sets and temperatures get colder.
Yeah, let's go to CBS Austin's Farrah Walton, who's keeping a very close eye on the road conditions in southwest Travis County in our traffic tracker. Farrah, you've been driving around all this afternoon. Where are you now, and what exactly are you seeing?
Well, Walt, Adela, right now we are in Mustang Ridge near where the 130 toll and the 45 toll intersect. But for the past couple hours, we were driving up and down State Highway 71, where we did see some of those roads and overpasses begin to ice over. Now, here in Mustang Ridge, we are here because police say that they have already responded to multiple wrecks, especially on those overpasses and bridges because of ice accumulation that is quickly starting to build up there. Now, we saw multiple wrecks on the 130 ramp from the 45 toll, and police here are begging people, if you can stay off the roads, please do. We are seeing those overpasses and bridges freeze. We are under an ice storm warning through noon tomorrow, with that heaviest ice threat expected to move in soon and last through tomorrow morning. Road conditions are expected to continue deteriorating, with visibility expected to be really low. So yeah, stay off the roads if you can. And if you are planning on driving, just be extra cautious. Reporting live from Mustang Ridge, Farrah Walton, CBS Austin News.
Cap Metro is taking heed of the potentially icy roadways tonight. All regular bus service is currently suspended. It will remain suspended for the entire day tomorrow. Emergency transportation is still being provided, including rides to cold weather shelters. You are asked to sign up for Cap Metro alerts for updates on when those services will resume.
And all H-E-B stores across Central Texas are also closed tonight due to the weather. The grocery chain says the decision was made to protect its workers and customers. All stores are on track to reopen tomorrow at 9 a.m. Travis County officials are again urging people to stay home during this ice storm as those temperatures drop and freezing precipitation moves into the area.
CBS Austin's Vinny Martirano is live in Sandy Creek tonight. Vinny, this is a community that has really already felt the effects of Mother Nature over this past year. What's it looking like out there now?
Yeah, Adela, Walt, it's troubling for some people who just a couple of months ago had to learn and adapt to living in RVs and trailers, and now they're preparing for an ice storm, trying to stay warm throughout the night. Out here in Sandy Creek, you can totally tell that the temperatures continue to drop. The wind is starting to pick up, and there's been a little drizzle here for the last couple of hours. That's starting to accumulate on some metal objects that we've seen, like our tripod and our car. One thing I do want to note is this area did get some rain this morning, which some people told me they had concerns. As you could tell, the creek level started to rise. The mud, the dirt that sits on the base here is also extremely sticky. This is all still wet. So this is going to be something that we are going to continue monitoring throughout the day, or throughout the night, excuse me. How much more precipitation are we going to get? How much is it going to freeze? And some of the roads and the big sandy bridge, we're gonna watch how transportation looks. Now, CBS Austin's Jamal Kennedy is live out in Georgetown tonight. Jamal, what does it look like out there for you?
Doesn't it?
Well, Vinny, I hear you talking a lot about transportation, and I will say that we noticed a couple of small minor crashes here on our side here on 35 in Georgetown. Now, that's closer to the on the northbound side. We were standing on the southbound side where we saw these crashes. It was the opposite of exit 259. So if you're traveling southbound on I-35 out of Georgetown, you pass by that 259 exit. It was on the opposite side of that. We drove around. We got some video of it. We saw it up close on the frontage road. One car did look pretty badly impacted by this crash, but it's unclear whether we can attribute those to these road conditions or not. But I will say that I've noticed a lot of the cars on 35, the few that we have seen coming down here, they had their caution lights on, their hazards on, and they were driving very gingerly. It was very difficult from our vantage point to get a viewpoint of what the roads look like on there. But I could tell you that, like you mentioned, like Vinny mentioned, it's been kind of like a consistent miss. But I'll keep my eye on that, and we'll keep our eyes peeled here in Georgetown. For now, in Georgetown, Jamal Kennedy, CBS Austin News.
Here's a look now at ERCOT's current grid conditions. Right now, operating reserves are sitting around 15,000 megawatts, which is considered normal. Keep in mind, we have just lost solar power as the sun has gone down, but we still have wind, battery, coal, natural gas, and a little bit of nuclear. ERCOT Weather Watch is in effect through Tuesday, the 27th. That could mean the potential for lower reserves, but Texas Governor Greg Abbott says he is confident the grid will hold up this weekend.
Another U.S. citizen shot by a federal agent in Minneapolis. How local leaders and the White House are responding tonight.
Just felt a little forgotten, but that's okay.
Protests are growing in Minneapolis tonight after a Border Patrol agent shot and killed a man on the street, weeks after the fatal shooting of Renee Good by an ICE officer in the same city.
This man now has been identified as 37-year-old U.S. citizen Alex Preddy. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has activated Minnesota's National Guard to help local police control some of the protests. The Department of Homeland Security claims Preddy approached federal agents with a gun and that they shot him in self-defense. Minneapolis's police chief says he was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. Local leaders are again asking the White House to pull federal agents out of their city.
How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
In a post on Truth Social, President Trump accused Jacob Fry and Tim Walz of, quote, inciting insurrection. The NBA is postponing a game between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors tonight to, quote, prioritize the safety and security of the Minneapolis community.
We are continuing to track the impacts of this winter storm across central Texas, the latest in the forecast and how you can stay warm. Wait. He's over there. So should Walt come over here? Should we stand on this side of the, can you widen out again?
It starts like this, okay, and then goes to what?
Right. Trying to figure out how this, that's probably this way better.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
be, I'm gonna have to like stand half behind you to see all of weather, so.
We are continuing to keep an eye on the winter weather coming across central Texas right now, but this storm has far-reaching impacts beyond our area.
Roughly 180 million people from New Mexico to New England are under a winter storm warning tonight. We've got some video of snow falling this morning in parts of North Texas and the Panhandle. Temperatures could drop into the negatives and hit record lows tonight in Amarillo. At least 17 states and Washington, D.C. are under states of emergency as the people there ride out the storm.
This is a look now at the Austin Airport's departures board. As you can see, there are several flight cancellations and delays.
The runways and terminals are expected to remain open, but the airport is reminding travelers, check with your airline for the latest updates on your flight status. Some rebooking options are available depending on your airline, of course. Nationwide, more than 10,000 flights are canceled through Monday, according to the flight tracking website FlightAware.
Some ice accumulation is starting in West Travis County, and more is expected later tonight.
Yeah, meteorologist Michael Crowley is in the Marble Falls area. Michael, what are you seeing out there right now? It looks cold.
It is very cold, and I probably do look very cold. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-20s. Wind chills nearby are around 15 degrees. And we're starting to see a lot more of those temperatures. We don't need the rain, but if we get rain, the atmosphere is primed for some freezing rain. I mean, just this railing right here, any bit of water that touches that metal is gonna freeze directly on contact within seconds of it. And it's getting a little bit dark, but over my right shoulder, the Colorado River has some fog rolling over it. Now, the water itself, it looks like it's steaming, but the water itself is not that warm. It's just the air is just so cold here that the evaporation that comes out of the water instantly condensates into, honestly, a cloud and starts to push underneath the bridge. We're watching very closely to see if it does start to see some issues in terms of freezing overnight tonight. Now, we do have some light freezing rain moving into my area pretty soon. We're gonna give you more updates. So far, not too much, just a gentle mist like a lot of people have been reporting, but there is more on the way. Chief Meteorologist Chicago Windler is gonna break that down for you right now. So to get back to the studio, CBS Austin meteorologist Michael Crowley.
Now your Storm Tracker weather, sponsored by the Sistine Chapel Experience.
We made it through last night's round relatively unscathed with 1 to 4 inches of rain. Just imagine if the temperatures had dropped before that. The light icing in the hill country didn't cause any major issues, but unfortunately tonight we still have another round to go. That's why we have the ice storm warning in effect for Williamson, Travis, Hayes counties, points west to Burnett, Llano, Gillespie, and Blanco counties for up to a ½ inch of accumulation, and that is enough for tree limbs to go down and power outages to occur. If you're not in the ice storm warning, you're not much better off. Mason County, as well as Milam, Lee, Fayette, Bastrop, and Caldwell counties under a winter storm warning until noon, where you could see between 1/10 to as much as 1/4 inch of ice accumulation. Here's the big picture just to give you the lay of the land. It is 5 in Amarillo. It is 26 in Austin. And we're watching as the next round of wintry precipitation isn't quite here yet, but we're seeing ahead of it some spotty light freezing drizzle already happening from Lockhart and Luling to Rosanke, Bastrop, and on toward Giddings, with more to come. All right, so we talked about how we are dealing with the ice storm conditions. We're not alone. There are millions of people that are also watching as the ice accumulation has the potential to just add extra weight to tree limbs, make streets slick. I cannot stress to you enough how big a deal this is and how much I don't want you to be traveling tonight. But the good news is by about 8 in the morning, this is out of our hair. It will be pushing off to the east. Here's a look right now, as mentioned, of the temperatures. And what I'm tracking is probably by about 7 to 8 p.m. So another hour to 2 hours is when we'll start to see all of that mist and drizzle and precipitation that freezes on contact push all across our entire area. That's 8 o'clock. Here we go to 11 o'clock. We may have a several-hour period where it is steady freezing rain, just coating surfaces and roads and trees and power lines. Here we are at 4 a.m. And finally, by about 6:30 in the morning, we're seeing the tail end of the storm. It moves out. There may actually be a couple of snow flurries on the other side of this. Okay, so that gets us through the potential for ice. Here's a couple of computer models, and honestly, they're kind of low compared to what I think we have the capability to see. Most of them are showing between 1/10 to maybe 1/3 of an inch of ice accumulation. I do want to point your attention, though, to this one, which I think is more realistic. It's giving 1/4 of an inch of ice to Austin, 1/2 an inch to Georgetown, about 4/10 of an inch to areas like Burnett. So plan on this being the potential, and that would mean numerous trees down, possibly power line damage, and roads becoming impassable at times. And we haven't even talked about the cold. Extreme cold warnings are in effect. Take a look at this. Tomorrow morning, a record 20 degrees, 15 in Llano, 23 degrees in LaGrange. And that's the temperature. The feels like temperature will be in the single digits and maybe close to 0. So when we put all the pieces together, the ice happens overnight. Tomorrow, we see a high temperature of only 30 degrees. We're at 34 for a high on Monday. So that means we went to freezing at 11 a.m. today. We don't get above freezing until afternoon on Monday. Could be even later in the hill country. And I've got freezes 6 of the next 7 days. Another thing I'm watching next weekend, it's not set in stone. There might be another winter storm.
It is winter.
Yeah.
Say that. All right, let's take this live look as freezing rain and freezing temperatures have descended here upon us in Austin and Central Texas. Traffic moving slowly but smoothly at this point. You are advised to stay home if you can. We'll be right back.
The city of Austin has its cold weather shelters open tonight for anyone in need of a warm place to sleep.
Registration for the shelters is open right now. It will last until 8 p.m. at the One Texas Center. That's on Barton Springs Road and South First Street. You can find more information on our website, cbsaustin.com. If your power happens to go out tonight, several warming centers across Central Texas are ready to help.
CBS Austin's Emily Miranda reports from a warming center in Burnett tonight about how they're helping their most vulnerable people.
We are currently here inside First Methodist Church in Burnett. In front of me, you can see plenty of food. And if you take a look behind me, you can see blankets, cots, tables, and more set up and ready to receive people. Now, volunteers say if you or someone else you need is in need of a hot meal or a warm place to stay, to stop in. Staying warm is key for many in Burnett County as a winter storm continues to move through the area. Take a look at some of the video we captured around Burnett Saturday morning. Ice covers trees along State Highway 29. Fences are lined with icicles, and some properties covered in layers of ice look like a scene from a winter postcard. While ice was not seen on the roads yet, temperatures remain below freezing for much of the day. Inside First Methodist Church, volunteers are prepared to welcome in anyone in need of a warm place. One volunteer says this warming center is crucial to the community.
There aren't a lot of shelters and things like that in our community, and we work with a lot of clients that are living in RVs that just don't have adequate heat, or they may lose, their water freezes more easily, and just the conditions that they live in that may not allow them to stay as warm as they need to.
Now, volunteers here say this warming center will stay open for the duration of the freeze. There's also a second location in Marble Falls. We'll have all this information up on cbsaustin.com. In Burnett, Emily Miranda, CBS Austin News.
Ice storm warning and winter storm warning until noon tomorrow, but I think that the precip will be over before you wake up in the morning. The residual icing effects could last not just into tomorrow, but because we don't thaw out till Monday, could be at least Monday before we really start to see a bunch of melting. It's going to be rough. Please be safe.
We'll be
That's right.
tracking any school closings too if that happens.
Absolutely. A few of them have already been called, I believe. That does it for us for now. We'll see you tonight at 10.